Yeah, we were having some issues with my Yeti kept disconnecting, and then my computer decided to stop booting. So I got that going for me. Can you guys hear the audio okay? Let me see here. I can't hear it. It's got to be something on my sound card. Hang on one second. Let me see. All right, there we go. Got my audio back here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and post this out to all my followers here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and post this out to all my followers here. All right, let's do this here. I'm just posting the links out. It's funny, there's people saying that this is an advertisement from Anet. Like, come on. It's funny, there's people saying that this is an advertisement from Anet. Alright, everybody just bear with me a second. Almost set up here. Alright. I can never remember which chat program I use here. I've got like 3 or 4 of them. I can never remember which chat program I use here. I've got 3 or 4. Once I figure out which one it is, I'm trying to remember where the hell I put it. I believe it's the chatty. Let me see here. That way I can actually interact with everybody and have it on a different screen. Put the chat down in the corner here. All right. Oh, my preview. Okay. Well, what's going to happen is I'm going to move this over. I'm going to go ahead and close out my preview here, so I'm not going to be hearing anybody. I've got my chat up, so let me grab my wireless keyboard and the Anet E10, and we're going to get started. So I got a table behind me here. If I could rotate, I got a table behind me here. We're going to do the unboxing on here. And did my webcam seriously just lock up? Go figure. Let's try this again. Can you guys still hear me? Gotta be kidding me. Okay, give me a second. I'm just resetting this damn camera here. Come on. Should have stuck with my 922. Dear God, one thing after another tonight. And I know it's still streaming here. And you know, all this worked, and this is the first stream I've done since I moved into the office, and it's just been a pain in the ass here. There we go. It's got to be my USB. The USB ports on this computer are just a pain in the ass, and I haven't had time to sit down and actually fix everything, so that's my fault. I apologize. I'm just changing the damn exposure and all this stuff so it doesn't shift to the middle. Alright, so we looking good here focus-wise? Okay. I'm going to go grab the Anet E10 and we're going to get started here. So I'll be right back. All right. No, it should be back up. Is it still going? Still going, guys? Is the stream still working? Okay, you guys are worrying me here. I was like, you gotta be kidding me that it just screwed up again. Alright, let's see if my little wireless keyboard works. Cool! Alright, test. Alright, good. Finally, something's working now. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and do this unboxing. So, the first thing you're going to notice here, let me move the mic out of the way here so I can get on here. The box is significantly smaller than the CR10. Now, there was the review video that Preston released, and he said that it's trying to be a CR10. Now, I understand where he's coming from on this, but the bottom line is that it's not a CR10. I don't expect it to be a CR10. It's smaller than the CR10. It's 220 by 270 by 300 build volume, so it's not that bad. I would like to see it come in at the $300 price range if they're going to be selling this regularly, because I have high-ish hopes about this, and I'm just moving around Windows on my computer right now. And I'm going to close out Facebook here. All right. So everybody see well here. And I have not opened this. You can see this is completely sealed. This is from GearBest here. Hopefully we'll get a few more viewers here. We got quite a few already. So they shipped this to me from DHL over in China. Yeah, it's not a CR10. Like what I expected to be is fill that gap between the CR10 and the like $200 printers, because it's got a little bit bigger build volume than like the Anet E10 or some of these other i3 clones. If I can tell you right now, if they go above $300 on this, it's not going to be a very popular kit. So let's open this up and see what we're working here. Move my mic out of the way here. I'm just going to take this damn this pop filter off because I've got a windscreen on here. And it's going to keep getting in the way. So we can live without that tonight. Let me just adjust my lighting here. Got a bunch of LED lights around. All right. So let's see here. I've got two 10-meter samples of PLA, which is funny because Preston said there's no PLA in here at all. I have two samples here. It's probably not as much as what comes in like the CR10 or the TiVo I reviewed, but there's two things of white PLA in here. I have a little manual. You see right here. And this is just printed on a laser printer. Nothing fancy. It is stapled. So, and this just has the specifications in here. Extruder max temperature is 260. Hotbed, they're saying it'll get up to 100. And recommended filament is PLA. Now, I don't care what anybody says. If any of these manufacturers tell you that your printer can print ABS and you don't have an enclosure, it's not happening. You might be able to print small stuff, but anything wide and tall is not going to work well. So it's showing just a few steps here. And it's basically, if you've assembled the CR10, it's basically, they're telling you bolt the top piece on, put the little bracket on for the actual filament roll holder, and just tightening up some screws here. So let's keep taking this apart. I'm assuming this is like a build tack. Yeah, this is like a build tack surface. Not as thick as some of the other ones I've seen, but I think it'll do the trick. We'll see. I know Uncle Jesse was having some issues with getting his to stick, so I'm going to move this up here a little bit. My camera. I need to move my table out of the way. Do you guys want me to put on some background music or something while I'm doing this? Like just something to have in the background while this is going on? Yes? Okay. I figured that would make things a little more interesting, so let me pull up something here. Let me find one of those like royalty-free electronic playlists. There's actually some good stuff on there. All right. Let me get this going here. No? Everyone's saying no now? Okay. All right, well, fuck it. No music. All right, so... All right, no music. We're going to keep this simple. So I'm going to take off the top layer here. And I will say I was expecting this to be bigger. That's what she said. So I've got the bed here. And we've got everything zip tied in place. Now, the printed parts here is one thing that Preston complained about on his, and they're okay print quality. They're not the best, but they're not the worst. Let me see if I can hook I got another camera over here. Let me see if I can hook that up so I can use that for close-up. So give me 1 second here. Let me plug that bitch in. Alright, so I got a 922 on the left here. Let me see if I can add that in for like a close-up cam. Yeah, their marking definitely made it look bigger, so I'm not gonna act like Anet's done no wrong here. I don't really care or have allegiances, I should say, to them, because it's a printer. At the end of the day, it needs a print. And if it doesn't do that, then what's the point? All right, come on, 922. Let's see if we can do this. See if we're gonna activate. We're gonna activate. Oh, look at that! Like a fucking pro here. Let me just turn off all their. They've got like all this color correction and other bull crap here. Let me adjust the setting here, and I'm going to go ahead and just move it. Alright, so we'll use this as like the close-up cam or whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, and I'll set this up as a separate view. And just a moment here. I'm not going anywhere. I am just switching these up because it wasn't working before. And for some reason, this camera is just being all sorts of wonky. I did drop it the other day, so that might have something to do with it. Let's see if this is better. No, that's not any better. I don't know if it's OBS or if it's this camera, to be completely honest. Alright, so I just changed the port it was running off of. Let's see if it's any better. And I apologize for the technical issues here. It's kind of a pain in the ass. It's the first stream I did since I moved into the office here. And I'm just kind of turning off all this like low light crap that Logitech puts on there. Alright. So we got our main here. Let me see if I can copy the chat over here. There we go. All right, so we're in business here. Let me, I can just use this to show you guys different things. So we have my keyboard. All right, so this is how it comes. You can see the printed parts here. They're okay quality. This one's pretty bad. It's not super smooth. And these are a little better, as you can see here. Hopefully. So you can see they're a little bit better. That one's I'm not too happy with, but it holds the rod in place. And then you've got your end stop switch and your Y motor. And then here's the bottom of the bed. And there's a zip tie holding the tension on here. It does have a tensioner on it. So I wish I would have set this up, because I just picked this up from Micro Center today. It would have been really nice to be able to use it to switch between views. So what I'm going to do is just kind of set that down and switch back and forth between these. So I'm going to take this out, set this to the side. And then keep the unboxing going here. So there's more packing material. We've got a standard power cable here. I already peeled this off just instinctively. So we've got the control box. It is not as big as the CR10. There is a switch here for 120 and 220. And actually I just realized my 922 still has my tripod mount on it, so I'm going to put this on here so I can have this as like the stationary view here. Okay, I just want to make sure I was recording the actual footage, because I'm going to chop this up and use this for the actual review if I do end up doing a standalone review. If it's really as bad as Preston has made it out to be, then I likely will just be doing this and doing some test prints. Alright, so I got the secondary camera mounted up here so I can show you guys the thing here. Okay, cool. So I can just toggle between these two now. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Alright. So now what you'll see here on this is there is the 120 or 110 and 220, and I don't know if you can see it in here. There is a light right behind the camera, but the switch is set to 220 volts. So I'm going to go ahead and move that over right now, just so I don't forget. And that moved over fairly effortlessly. We got a spool holder, and this is printed. This is an actual printed part. So, not bad quality though. So I'll give them that. I got nothing against printed parts at all, to be completely honest. So I'm going to go ahead and just mount this on here, because I assume that's where it goes. Just like on some other printers that are out there. And print quality is not bad. You can definitely tell they printed a little quick, but the threads are nice. This one is binding up a little bit. But it's functional, and that's what counts, in my opinion. So I'm going to take some more packing material out. Got a little spatula dealy here with a tapered edge. You can see the tapered edge here. And put that off to the side. Is chat working? Am I still streaming here? Because like you guys are off quiet. Hello? Anybody? 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 This last message was like 10 minutes ago. Oh, okay. God. You guys, I've had so many dropouts when doing Twitch streams, it just makes me paranoid. So, I've got the box here. I'll go back up to close cam. Got the box here. And just a plain cardboard box. Got some PTFE tube. A bunch of hex screw or hex drivers. Extrusion nuts and bolts. An actual spare hot end and block, or nozzle and block, I should say. USB cable, SD card in the reader, some zip ties, and same style screwdriver you got in like the AA kit. And all that should be left in here is the top part. Now, to give an idea of the size, this is way smaller than the CR10. So I can see where people are coming from about the marketing. They made it look bigger. I don't really know what I was expecting. There's some Captain tape on here. So this is this. Now, I'm going to bring this over here. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it that well, but this is my CR10 right here. And it's, I want to say, the CR10's got about 6 inches of height on it here. So, but everything, I'll go ahead and give a close-up here. Everything's all zip-tied so it doesn't move. You got 2 here, and I thought I saw another one somewhere on here. Unless I'm just looking at the belts. So, there's the top gantry Z portion. And the top pieces are printed parts, you can see here. There we go, let's move back up. So this is the box now. Let me just see if there's anything else in here. I don't think so. So now let's get into building this sucker here. So let me reposition the mic. And is there a hot end cooler? Let me see here. So, okay, I was like, where is the hot end? Because it's just the actual hot end itself. This is all attached. This is all attached to the control box here. And there is a hot end cooler. Here's a part. Here's the cold end fan, and then this is the blower. It's the same style 30mm blower that's on the Creality printers. Now, do I follow the guide or do I just do it? So let's see. They're saying here. Here's a picture. So there are decent pictures on here. And it says basically put so the T brackets are already on here. Picture one is a chassis, picture two. My stream just jumped because for some reason my USB just dropped on my other camera. Can you guys still hear me? I think my audio cut out. I'm assuming you guys can still hear me. It looks like it picked back up. Okay, all right. I gotta look at, there's something going on with my USB cables since I moved into this office. And I don't know what the issue is. It's been a pain in the ass. So I've been trying to fix things, and I basically got to rip all my USB cords out, run everything new. And someone's calling my cell phone, but they can go to voicemail. All right, so first off, I have no cutting tools. So luckily I've got a million pairs of side cutters from all the other different things. Let me see. So they don't tell you at all in here to cut these zip ties. Obviously you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. These belts, I believe, are very similar to the stock ones that come on the Anets, but they feel a little more flexible. They are reinforced. There is steel in the belting, so they're not 100% rubber like Preston was saying they are, so that's good. That'd be really dumb if they did that. So it's saying line the screws to be vertical, so the little extrusion nuts on the side here, they're saying align them to be vertical. So I'm going to go ahead and just loosen these up here on either side. Actually, if I was smart, I should have left them vertical while they were tight so they don't spin while I'm trying to put this on. Now, Cody from the CR10 group, he said that his heated bed was hitting these end stop connections here. Or not the end stop, but the Z motor connections. And it is tight. It is a tight fit here. Now, oops. Now I definitely should have left these tight here because these are going to spin. And then I can loosen them up once the extrusion is on there. Go ahead and tighten those back up so they don't move on me. And then just pop these on. All right. Well, that was easy. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Allen wrench here. One's a little too small. Go next size up. And it tells you to tighten them up, so I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. I'm gonna make sure it's grabbed. I gotta put it in a little bit further. Okay, that grabbed that time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down on this just to make sure I'm getting a good solid connection. It's not tiny. It looks tiny when you're you know, taking it out of the box and it's in 2 pieces, but it's a decent size. I mean, this is 300 on the height. It's got a weird sized bed though, I will say that. Which is going to be kind of a pain for finding glass, but you can get it cut, you know, whatever size you want. Alright, second extrusion nut going in here. I'm just going to tighten this down. Now, I can say right now, the X Gantry is actually pretty solid, so I will not have any complaints there. I'm just going to double check that the other nuts here and bolts are tight. And flip this guy around. And do the other side now. So all I'm doing is I'm unscrewing these hex nuts here, and then putting them back, and what that does is that gets that extrusion nut to turn and then bite into the actual extrusion, which this just did. And that's what gets it to lock. Now both my threaded rod to motor couplers are actually nice and intact. I know Cody had his come apart on him. So far, it's not looking bad. I'm going to go ahead and cut this free, the hot end carriage here. And I'm just going to throw these zip ties out. So it says here, be aware, please insert vertical frame correctly into the chassis. And it shows the motor should be on this side. Be aware of the vertical frame is not attached to the chassis at this moment. Do not turn the frame around. Please mount M6 by 20 screws on left and right sides from the bottom and tighten them up. M6 by 20, and there actually, I would show you guys the other camera, but since the USB disconnected, it decided to go away. So, but the bag is labeled. It says 2 pieces M6 by 20, 2 pieces M4 by 10, and 2 pieces M3 by 5. So I'm going to go ahead here and grab the biggest Allen key, because that looks like what it uses, and I would be correct. I'm going to go ahead and just double check that these are tight. I'm just going to loosen it up, make sure it's tight and centered. They weren't very tight from the factory. They were in all the way, but you definitely could crank them down a little more. So I'm going to turn this on its side, and I'm going to put these screws in from the bottom. First one lined up, no issue. So that's good. Let's see if the second one goes in with no issues. Alright. That one is in. And just tightening it up here. Alright, so let's flip this back around here. We're just going to move the X here. I am feeling like it's like I'm moving, and then see how where it's stopping? That's where it's actually like stopping. So I don't know if I got a flat spot on my bearings here or what, or if it just needs to be tensioned properly. It may actually be the belt. I'm just checking the idler here. Alright, moving on. It says use the M4x10 to mount the filament arm to this guy here, to the box. So I'm going to grab that from over here. And this filament arm is aluminum, so that's good. And it says to put it like this, so I put this on backwards. Right. Alexa, turn on behind door light. There we go. Let's get some more light in here. Hopefully I didn't trigger anybody's Alexas when I did that. Alright, so this is going on here. Going to hand thread these in as much as I can. I'm going to grab one of the Allen wrenches here. There we go. And just push these in the rest of the way. That's funny. So Hutchie Mike, I probably shouldn't say, Alexa, add big black dildos to my shopping list.
I've added big black dildos to your shopping list.
I'm going to have some screwed up product suggestions now. All right, so I put that on here. Now it's telling me basically put the Hotend thermistor and heater cartridge into the Hotend. So I just clipped the wires on here. I am assuming they're going to want to have this on the left of the printer, as that is how they show it in all the pictures. So these are actually nice and sleeved, so I'll give them credit for that. So basically they want you to take you got the thermistor and the Hotend here, and put this in here. Dub Wrap, I know you've been on my other streams, and I know once you tell me your name, I'm going to know who you are. But I'm going to need a reminder here, because I can't remember everybody's handles. But I am putting the heater cartridge and thermistor into the Hotend heater block right now. Ah, what's up, Chris? Just giving the Anet E10 a whirl here. Alright, so I've got this in. It says tighten up the M4 8 screws on the two sides. Then tighten the black jack screw up. M4x8 screws on the two sides. Now, what screws do we have left in here? M3x5s. These are spares. I'm assuming they are talking about the actual, what do you call it? The guys, I can't speak today. The wheels, the actual pulley wheels. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure these are nice and tight here if I can. Now, I don't see a wrench in here, so I'm just gonna do these by hand because that's what everybody else would be doing. Okay, so they just kind of spin. Unless they're also talking about the Hotend ones here, which, screw it, I'll tighten those up too, just in case. And it is the similar hot end to the CR10. It's just right up against the actual carriage, which in theory shouldn't be an issue because the air is going to go out and it's also going to actually heat sink to this. So we'll see how it is long term. Now it says use the M 3x4 screws included for the shroud, which has the layer fan on it. But it doesn't tell you how to route the cables. So me obviously knowing this, and anybody who has a printer, you're going to know to put the cables up and route them correctly out of the way. So I go ahead and make this all purty like. And it's 2 screws. Wow, the CR10 looks small in person. I didn't know. This isn't the CR10. This is the Anet E10. I don't know if you're a troll. Yeah, it doesn't include a full tool set. That I have to say, that's kind of disappointing. I mean, granted, you can cut zip ties with scissors, but it'd be nice to have a set of snips, especially at the included price that they're asking, which I believe is $2.99 right now, and then I believe it goes up to $370, which I can tell you right now, one thing Preston's right about is that $370 is not worth it. I can tell you that right now. Now, this might be a good printer, but at $370, I definitely couldn't recommend it unless it's absolutely amazing on print quality, but I'm not holding out on my hopes. So I got that mounted. I got the cold end fan and layer fan mounted, and now it's saying to hook up the limit switches. So I've got... Basically, it's just saying hook them all up. So I've got all these cables here. It does have the same style heated bed connector. So all that's left is just hook up all the cables. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And at least they give you a dual Z on these. That is nice. I know the CR10s are doing that stock. I can foresee this heated bed connector having an issue with the wires. Sorry, I can't talk. I'm trying to read all these. The wires and the what do you call it? Shorting out or frying, like melting, whatever you want to call it. Am I going to open the control box? I will be opening the control box. I want to power it on and make sure it works before I start ripping into this thing. And I might have to try to reset my camera over here. That's the close-up. So I'm just connecting the Z-axis motors. And now the end stop switches. Yeah, so right off the bat, the bed. Yeah, E3. It is an i3 clone, and it's pre-assembled. Like, I'm almost done, but my heated bed nuts are hitting the Z-axis motors, the connectors, right off the bat. Now, let me see if they say which... They do say which connections on the switch, because there's three positions on the switch that you can hook into. I'm going to have to move these... I'm going to have to move the Z motors, because they're going to hit. Now, these are just little spade connectors on here. Let me see if I can fix this this camera on the left here. Yeah, it's hitting the... Let me toggle this camera because it's locked up. Hey, look at it, came back. Okay, so the connectors so that the other printers either have them soldered or they have the JST connectors. There are just connectors here. And these are a bitch to get on, I can tell you right now. It keeps coming off. I mean, I don't know. Let me put it on its side. Maybe it'll be easier to... I should have put these on before I put the top piece on. And they fit pretty loosely, I can tell you that right now. Not too happy about that. So I'm trying to put one on and the other one comes off. I think it's just this one, because the other one seems to be staying on. I'll really push this on here. Alright. So right out the gate, this one crimp connector does not want to stay on. So I'm going to have to grab my needle nose pliers and squeeze it to close it. If I can find them. So I'm trying to get this Z-stop on here. 250 would be great for an 8x8 print area if it was this polished. Yeah. Now here's my problem I had with Preston's like rant video was he just said it sucks and he covered it quickly, but you know, I want you to tell me why something sucks. You know, don't just go on a brief rant and cover things that aren't that big of a deal. So I squeezed that little connector together and it's staying on the end stop now. So we got our X motor and our extruder motor here. And where's our end stop? It is over here. X-axis limit switch. So this is going to come over this way. So there's one wire on there. These wires are a little tight. I will say that. Now here's the thing. If you don't connect these to the limit switch the right way, then what's going to happen is it's not going to trigger because their firmware is going to be set up for one way. I actually think the aluminum parts on here are really nicely cut, even though he complained about them not being steel. I don't think you need steel on a printer this size. I mean, it'd be nice, but I don't think it's necessary. Alright, so I got my X connected. That was kind of a pain. And now let's do the Y here. Man, I honestly don't see why he was complaining about the aluminum stamped or cut parts, whatever you want to call it, because they're solid and they're cut nicely. So, what more do you want? All right, so we got our Y connected, we got our X. Here's the thing. This is hitting the... I can barely push this back. Okay, I have a pen made of steel. Why does size matter and materials? To be honest though, this is still a lot less work than... Yeah, it is. But here's the thing. These, I don't know... Here's the thing, the picture. So the bed nuts are hitting the Z motors right now. The Z motors connectors go in, okay? So let me switch to my other camera here. It might help if I turn my keyboard on. So the Z motors connectors face in. They don't face back. Okay, so this is the back of the printer. They don't face back, they face in. If they faced back, this bed wouldn't be hitting them. So what I'm going to do, like, so right off the bat, they're getting switched. I'm not even going to try to print it because what's going to happen is the bed nuts are going to keep hitting this damn connector on here. And it's going to screw stuff up. So, and I'm just looking, even if I loosen them up, they're still going to be in the same position. So I have to, right off the bat, turn these around. So there are 2 hex nuts here. So I'm going to go ahead and unscrew these from the motor. They're M3 nuts. And I'm going to have to move this gantry up to do this, so. It moves smoothly. I mean, the gantry's tight. I see what Preston was saying about the tension here. Instead of an eccentric nut, there's a nut and it just slides back and forth. It's not as nice. Safe to say that this printer isn't for a noob. I don't know. So out of the box, it will not print right. It probably would print. It's just going to slam the shit out of the Z motor. So this is just like me going, okay, I noticed that this is not ideal, so I'm going to switch this around. I wouldn't call this a major problem, though, because here's the thing. The Chinese printers, like, they're going to have problems. I don't care. Even the CR10s have problems, unless you get them from, like, Tiny Machines or, you know, another local vendor. Like, there's McEwen 3D. If you're in the U.S., you're going to have problems. I see guys with busted couplers all the time, you know, bad thermistors, you know, heater cartridge, stuff smashed. So, I mean, you gotta take it as it is. Now, like I said before, I think if they're going to ramp this price up to $379, I'm not going to recommend it at that price. At most, I would pay probably $300 for this, personally. So, but I just removed 2 screws. There's 2 screws that hold the Z motor in, and I'm literally just turning it. That's it. Just turned it. That's all I did. And I'm going to put those 2 screws back in. Anet, you need to put these screws towards the back. The CR10 heater cable strain relief issue comes to mind. Yeah. It's all. Here's the thing. I know people that have Anet printers that are completely stock. The A8, which is notorious for burning up its heated bed connector and all these other different things. And I know people that don't have any issues, and they don't run a MOSFET. They don't even have an aftermarket power supply. So it's a your mileage will vary thing. And, you know, it's with any product, you know, like I have people that, you know, they only buy a certain product because that's what they've always used and they've had no issues. But the thing is, they just got lucky. So I'm just rotating these Z motors. Why they put them facing in, I have no idea. It would literally take them no extra effort to put them facing the rear like the CR10 is. Hard to go bad with a ripped off design. Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing. All these, if you think about it, the CR10 is a ripped off design of a Prusa. All these are ripped off designs of the Prusa. You know, it's, if I had to hazard a guess, I think Anet rushed this to market to get in with the CR10, especially with the early units. I'm not going to disagree with you there. I think they saw an opportunity here. And I don't think they're, like I said in the beginning, I don't think they're trying to make this a CR10. Yes, it looks like it, but you could say that for any printer that has this. You could say the Tron XY-X3 is a CR10. And I laughed when Preston said that the Tron XY-X3 is a better buy than this. Because the Tron XY-X3, okay, if all I have to do is rotate these Z motors, this is already better than the Tron XY-X3. Already better. Because the Tron XY-X3 is, 1, a DIY kit. And 2, I literally had to spend an entire weekend. My brother had to drive 2 hours up here because the thing kept having issues. The heater cartridge burned out. The thermistor failed. The cold end fan was wired backwards. There was 5 millimeters of play in the gantry. You could literally take this and rotate it, and it would move 5 millimeters. And it was put together tightly. Everything was bolted together tight. I thought, oh, he probably assembled it wrong. It was his first printer. No. It just had that much play in it. So he sent me a list of parts, and I cranked everything out of my printers, and we were working on that printer for, I want to say, at least 10 hours, but we did a lot to it. You probably could get away with a couple hours, but again, this I think if they can come in under 300 on this, it's not going to necessarily take market share away from the CR10. I think what it's going to do is it's going to make people that were going to buy a kit go with this. Yeah, they already sell that stuff, the V-slot molding. And this is T-slot extrusion. I don't understand why that's a huge deal. Yeah, you can print those out. It would take a long time, especially cover all this ground. It's one of those things that just because you can print it doesn't mean you should, in my opinion. So I'm just unscrewing these last two screws. The biggest thing is the included wrenches. They give you a wrench that fits this, and it just hits extrusion on this one side. So, but the left nut is okay. So I'm just rotating these motors. If this is the biggest problem I'm going to have with this, that's going to be fantastic. But still, that's a huge oversight for Anet. Like, rotate your damn motors. How hard is that? So I'm just literally, let me move this here. Literally just taking the motor and I'm going to turn it. So I'm just going to pull this a little bit. Not even disconnecting the coupler, just turned it. Done. So now the bed moves. It doesn't hit it. And I'm going to put these two screws back in. That's not bad. The printer and the enclosure behind me, that's an AM8. I wouldn't say I'm partial to Anet. It was my first printer, but I'm not going to recommend a product just because, you know, it was my first. Like, that'd be stupid. But if this, I can tell you right now, if they can keep the price under $300 and, you know, fix this Z motor issue, just tell the Chinese people putting it together, rotate the Z so the connector faces back, then, you know, we'll see. I'm hoping all this other stuff works on here. There is a Y belt tensioner, which is good. The only thing I'm concerned about is the heated bed connector here, or cable, I should say, going into the belt. So you're gonna, they do give you zip ties, so you could tie that off, but they don't mention it. So that's something assumed for them. All right, so that one is in. My lead screws are pretty straight, so I got that going for me. They're in here pretty well. They're definitely parallel wired. They're not series, because if I turn one, the other one moves, which tells me that they're in parallel wired mode, because it's feeding the voltage from the one coil into the other. Come on. This one screw is just like, no, I'm not going in. Like I said, it's just because this extrusion's in the way. It's hard to use the included one, but I'm going to use as much as I can with the included parts. So, do you guys want me to power this up? I'm thinking I should power it up and make sure it homes correctly at the very least before I open it to see what electronics are in here. I'm going to assume it's probably the A6 LCD screen, which is the 12864, and the standard Anet 1.0 board, which would be great because I'm already familiar with that platform. And it just got added into Marlin officially, so you can customize your hardware and whatnot. Alright, so this is in here. There's some play on here. I'm just gonna tighten these up. Time for magic smoke. Man, don't curse me, guys. I don't want to let the magic smoke out. So I'm just tightening these up because I don't trust that they're not all the way in there. So I'm just gonna double check. These are good. All right, fire it up. Okay, so let's just do some checks here. So I'm gonna make sure these wires are out of the way. So let me double check, because here's the thing. So there is no mention whatsoever of the PTFE tube. No mention whatsoever. So a newbie's gonna be like, what do I do with this? Is this like a hose? So I'm gonna go ahead and put my PTFE in here. And I'm probably gonna be able to cut this. Yeah, you only need a little bit here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down. And I'm just like biting it to like flatten the end out so it fits in here. Okay. Oh, look at that cute little guy. I should have routed through the back so I could follow the PTFE tube like on the CR10, but I can't. So I'm going to take this off now, because otherwise when I do prints this is going to get in the way. I wish they had this connection modular, because this means I now have to take off not only the fan shroud here, but I also have to take the heater cartridge out to route this through the back. And this box does not disconnect now, because you'd have to take this off. So, and I'm not gonna unscrew the heater cartridge. I'm just gonna take the hot end off here, because I don't feel like screwing with the heater cartridge and possibly breaking some shit. So bear with me just a moment. We're gonna give this sucker power. It might have been easier to move the top bar. You know what? Why couldn't you say that like 10 seconds ago? Because you're probably... Oh, no. Well, yeah, I guess because the lead screws are just in bearings. Now, Preston was complaining about this hot end being mounted flush up against the carriage here. My audio probably dropped out too. Twitch delay. I don't care, man. You should know. You should have been like, as soon as I started talking about it, you should have been like, move the top bar. Anyways, it's through here. I'm going to put a couple zip ties on here. Alright, so I got these two. I'm going to put this back on. Not that big of a deal, but I'm going to complain about it. I mean, this has been pretty easy so far. Sir, you didn't say anything on your page. I did. I posted on the original post. I said it is going on Twitch. I am recording this, so this will go up on the YouTube channel. You basically just missed me hooking up some cables. Here, let me do this. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make a post on the page so everybody knows, just in case anybody is left out here. So I'm gonna go to the page and I will go ahead and come on, let's do this here. Come on, Facebook, let's make this happen here. All right. I don't know why it's not showing up on here. I thought I posted this. Alright, let me just paste this to a couple other ones because the magic is about to happen. The magic is about to happen, everybody. So let me put this tubing in here. Oh yeah, nice and tight. And I'm going to take 2 zip ties and I'm going to go ahead and just clip these along the bottom tube here. And also, why did you need your Yeti? Just a smartphone and selfie mode. Oh boy, that's a good one. I am having issues with my other camera though. I got a 922. This is the C930E, which I just got recently. And my 922 keeps deciding to drop off the network because I have one over here for a close-up video. And it's like, screw it. And I think my Yeti drops out at the same time. I think it might either be the USB hub or the cable that hub is going through. I've got so many USB devices, it's insane. So let me try this. Let me toggle this here. Let me go back to my cam only here, and it's going to be locked up for a second. Let me just deactivate it and reactivate it. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to double check that this is on 110 volts. 110 volt is that way. Let's let the magic smoke out. I'm going to disappear for a second here while I crawl underneath my desk. Oh, power cord's almost too short. All right. Is everybody ready? You guys ready? Everybody ready? We're gonna power this up. Okay, you ready? Can I get a countdown? Like a 3, 2, 1, go? No? I'm probably just gonna turn it on. There's a Twitch delay. It says 3D printer. And it's definitely running Repetier, so I've got my heated bed thermistor showing. I want to say it's about the same noise level as the CR10. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to do a position, let's home. So my X wasn't moving right. I don't know if it's stuck on something. Alright, let me try to see what's going on here, because the X... Let me try to home this again. So, right off the bat, my X and E motors are completely reversed. They are labeled wrong. I was like, why the hell isn't the X moving? Let's try this again. So X-axis is, I'm assuming, the reverse, because Y moves and Z moves correctly, which means either it was mislabeled from the factory or they hooked up the wrong connectors in here. So it depends on who did what first, the labels or the plugs. So let's try this again. Hey! Alright. So we now have motion. Let me disable the steppers here. Now let me just level the bed real quick. Actually, I'm going to put that sticker on. The build tack type sticker here, which they don't mention to put on, but I'm going to put this on because that's what I'm going to print on. To be fair, I have seen worse QC on the Crealities, so... and pretty much every other printer brand. Let me move this Z up here. So Z moves in the same... you can make it skip pretty easily. But that's just me being nitpicky. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this build tack knockoff on here. Which, for the record, I have, does the frame feel solid and strong? Yeah, it does, actually. The frame seems pretty decent. It's way better than the A8, which is acrylic. I will not buy any more acrylic printers. I think the A8 is a good printer, but now that I have aluminum frame printers, I think the acrylic ones need to go away. I have one left, and it's my start, and that's like my little bastard child. Alright, so build tack is on the bed. Let me home everything. Should probably get my other cables out of the way here so I don't hit anything. I'm just leveling this out. Alright, I'm just disabling the steppers so I can level this. And I'm not going to use the paper, I'm just going to eyeball this. Looking pretty good on the leveling here. I am going to just print. I'm just going to print now. Well, my Anet prints like a charm and very little mods, but it's noisy and touching it is scary because it may break easily. I'm not knocking the Anet A8. I think the Anet A8 is a decent kit. I think the price should be much lower given what you have for options now. So let me home this again, and I'm going to use the included PLA here. And we're just going to find the end here and lay this guy over the spool holder here. Arm's a little loose, but I think that's just how it is. I'll try to tighten it up in a sec here. So I'm just feeding the filament in. I hate these samples though, because they're kind of a pain. You can see it wanted to unravel here. Alright, so that's in there. Let me just tighten that up. Next size up. That's just a little too big. That was actually pretty loose. And I think it tightened it too much. Yeah, definitely too much. There we go. Alright. Beautiful. Let me just make sure this is extruding. So I'm going to prepare. I'm going to preheat PLA. So the bed's going to 50. And the extruder is going to 200. And the cold end fan is on. And the layer fan. I'm going to go ahead and put the SD card in and see what's on here. And if there's a test print, we'll do the test print and see how it goes. Bed's already at 34, so it's heating up pretty quick. Okay, so you have to, on this, because it's the old one, you have to initialize the SD card. So you go to the menu, hit init SD card. Print for SD, let's see. English instructions. Print model STL, so there's assembly guides and everything, and there's a test file G code, pyramid, pen holder, FU, chess, same kind of stuff. So I'm gonna do the chest because that's what I did on my last one. So this is heating up now. And now we wait. It's preheating. It's at 150 out of 210 right now, and 46 on the bed. So the bed heated up pretty quick. Feels pretty even too. Anybody got any questions? You could have swore you said you would open up the control box. Well, I just want to make sure it's actually going to move, and then I'll crack this thing open. So it's almost heated up here. I want to make sure it actually moves and everything correctly before I open it. So then Gearbass can't say, hey, well, you opened it before you even did anything. You know, what's the deal? Patience, patience, young grasshopper. I get it. I want to rip this thing open, but I want to make sure this works first. All in all, if this prints, if they keep it under $300, the fact that this is a quick setup, even if you have to switch those motors around, that's not bad, considering you're looking at 4 or 5 hours a time for an i3 kit. And this is essentially an Anet E10 with 60 more millimeters of build height and 50 more on the bed. So we're at 192 on the extruder. Smell that PLA. Let me see if I can manually push some through. I can't, which is kind of concerning. So we'll see if it actually starts pushing it through. I should have clipped the end at an angle. Let me do that really quick. Because if you got a flat end, it can typically bind up inside Hopefully I can do this quick enough. It's at 2:01. Alright, it's in the PTFE. I should be able to push it through now. Yep. Alright, we're good. Hey there, how we doing tonight? We are getting ready to do a test print here. Everything's heated. Like the discussion of these printers have been so far. And we got 7 degrees to go. Okay, it's homing everything. Grab the little boogers here. It is not sticking, so let me just give each of these a little turn. There we go. Let me switch over to the other cam here and show you guys. Let me dismount this. And get this unstuck. Woo! All right. Come on, 922. You can focus. Focus, man. Focus. Focus! Alright, I'm going to have to manually focus this camera, but... Hang on, I'm working on it, guys. Ah, there it goes. It is actually printing pretty nice. Look at that. And it's sticking to the bed. All right. Ah, crap. What just happened? Oh, it maximized my thing. All right. So, should I stop this sound quiet? That's not a bad first layer. I've had some worse after. Yeah. It's about the same noise level as the CR10. Here, let me put this by the control box here. Can you guys hear that? There's actually 2 packages of filament included. There's 20 meters. So can you guys hear that noise that was coming off of the printer box? So right now the belt's stock. There's definitely some play in them. They aren't as plasticky as the stock A8 belts I had, but they're not the kind I particularly like. So I'm just tightening up the Y here. The Y actually has a tensioner from the factory, which is awesome. Alright, so I'm going to cancel this print here. Alright, so I shut everything off. Y does not move as smooth as I would like it, but I have a feeling it's just because of the cheap bearings. But once I got the leveling down, it stuck. So that's good. I don't know if you can see that there, but pretty good first layer. And I canceled that, so just ignore it. Alright. So yeah, that actually printed pretty decently. Alright, now safety first. Let's crack this thing open, see what's inside here. Alright, so I'm just gonna put this here. We're gonna shut this off. And all was quiet. Now, like I said, because of how they have this, I can't disconnect this from here because of the hot end. So I'm going to leave this connected. And we've got a bunch of Allen screws here, as you can see in the picture here. I'm going to rotate this around. And let me move the chat window over here. And let's get to it. Let's see what board they used in this thing. I'm going to say, like, if I had to wager, I'm going to say that it is the same board that came with the Anet E10. Anybody else want to place bets on here? And I don't think there's a MOSFET. There is a QC sticker on here that is already broken. So, whatever. MKS Gen 1.4, I wish. Yeah, I'm going to say no MOSFET too. Only because of the size of this box. Here's the thing, because they got the cooling fan in here, and this isn't a huge bed, I think they could get away with not doing it. I personally use MOSFETs on everything. Alright, so you guys ready? Anet 1.0 board. Well, Anet 1.5 is what it says on here. It looks the same. It's definitely the A6 LCD. There's a fan in here. It is the 1284p chip. It says 1.5. We've got heat sinks on all the MOSFETs. And I just disconnected the J3 and LCD cables. So we've got heavy-duty screw terminals, which is good, on the actual board. And it looks honestly, it looks just like the Anet 1.0 board. Looks just like the 1.0 board. The power supply is, let's see here. So we've got 14 gauge going to the board. And we got here, it's got to be on the other side. We have a 20 amp power supply, just like we suspected. So same electronics as the A6. And I believe that'll be all. I'm gonna more than likely replace this board. I don't know if I'm going to keep this printer or if I'm going to give it away. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying the X and Extrude, they're not, I don't even think they were labeled. Let me check here. If they're not labeled, then that would make more sense why they got swapped. They're not labeled at all. Just the... Unless I'm not seeing the labels. I don't see any label here. Not internally anyways. You know what? I'll just swap them in here so they match. So there we go. We're all fixed. So I can swap these back. So there's two fans on the inside. There's a 20 amp power supply. Fairly standard. And exactly what I was expecting and what someone else... Minuteswante, I'm probably butchering your name. I apologize, man. But yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting hardware-wise. Is it terrible? No, it's not. I think because they have the active cooling in here, I think it would be fine. But would I change this around? Yeah, but I think it would add to the cost. You can definitely fit a MOSFET in this box if you wanted to. If you got creative with your mounting. But here's the end of the story here. It printed. It printed on the first try. I'm not going to blame my poor quick bed leveling on them, but it printed on the first try. I recommend that you move the motors so they don't hit anything. The stock bearings, I don't know if they feel any worse than any other linear bearings. But they're not as smooth as I would like, but they'll work, is the thing. I think they're about the same as any other Chinese linear bearing that you're going to get. I'm just basically putting these screws back in. I got this one customer of mine. He had a bed leveling kit that had an issue, and he messages me all the time. I told him I shipped it out this morning, and he's messaging me, the tracking's not updating already. The tracking's not updating. Like, dude, chill. It went out. My mailman doesn't scan stuff all the time. I put everything in the outgoing mailbox downstairs. I live in a condo. Like, I'm not going to gain anything by hanging on to your package. Hopefully the extruder motor's the same. The motors all look the same, so I think I'll be fine. Blue, green, red, black, yeah, they're the same. So those are fixed. So someone swapped. I actually prefer linear bearings and rods over unstable wheels. I don't have any problems with my CR10s, but I do get what you mean. The linear rods feel a lot sturdier. Now, and there's not any play in this gantry, which immediately that's better than the Tron XY X3 that I built with my brother last weekend. That thing was atrocious, which I don't know why that Preston guy from Press Reset would say that the Tron XY is a better buy. You have to have another printer to get it working. Yeah, it feels like any other set of bearings. Now, I'm not a big fan of these belts, but they aren't they're a different material than the Anet E10. So I'm not going to ding them for that. I am going to go ahead and pull this arm out on the right here. And this is kind of what I do on my CR10s. So this arm kind of locks into there. So I'm going to pull on it, put some pressure, and then lock the extrusion in. And what that's going to do is that's going to put some tension on the belt. So you can tension your X and Y on here without any additional shit, which is great. So I'll do that. Would I buy this printer at $375? I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy it at $375. But if I was a new person and I didn't want something as big as a CR10 and a 3D printer part, hang on, I'm just reading. No damn way. I have printed nonstop on my 3CR10. Only level the bed once on 2 and twice on 1. You know what, guys? It doesn't matter as long as it's working and your bed is stable. Which this bed is pretty stable. Like the only flex I'm getting is from the springs. This H-frame that it's on, which is just like the Anet E10, is actually pretty solid. But as I was saying, would I buy this printer at $375, which is what they're talking about bringing up? No, I would not. I don't think it's worth $375. I do think it's at this weird position where it's in between the pricing of a CR10 and a Prusa clone. Now, if they could come in at $300, this exact kit as it is, $300, I think they would sell a ton of them. And I think at $300, it's a pretty much fully assembled i3 kit. You've got the dual Z screws. The board is fine. I know there's people that are going to complain. It's only a 20 amp power supply. It's the older board. Well, it says 1.5 on it. It looks the same. I'm going to be playing with this board, and I'm going to be putting auto bed leveling on it so I can list this with the firmware I'll make for the auto bed leveling kits. Yeah, of course cheaper would be better. If they put it under $300, if they said, you know, $250, they're gonna have no problem selling these. They're gonna sell a shit ton of them. $300, I think, is a fair price. I think it's a fair price. I don't think this is trying to be a CR10. I don't think that. I think they took inspiration from that design and, you know, I got a guy messaging me. I'm doing a live stream. I think that if they came in at 300 or less, they would sell a lot of these, because I do think if they fix the Z motor problem, then it's going to be a good new printer, because it's not huge. The CR10's a big printer. Even the standard printer is big. This I'm going to stick up on this shelf here. I actually like that it's smaller. So the more and more I look at this, the more and more I see that there is potential. Stock, it's going to be pretty good. You guys know me. I'm not going to keep anything stock. I'm going to modify it. It's just what I do. You know, it's what it is. But, you know, it's a good little printer, honestly, but they need to keep the price under $300. That's my final thoughts on this. I'm going to go ahead and put this over here on my shelf here. I went and picked up new battery backups. I got Raspberry Pis already, so I'll do some test prints on it. I tightened up the belts here. I just loosened up the two nuts. There's a little metal bracket here on the right that holds it. I loosened those up, pushed it out, tightened it down while I still had tension on it, and this belt is now solid. It's actually moving a lot nicer. It was kind of having like little notches, and as soon as I tightened the belt up, those went away. And same thing with the Y. The Y was a little sloppy. I tightened the tensioner up. There's like a little wing nut here on the front you turn, and there's like no play in the belt. I don't understand why Preston was all up in arms. I do think the pictures were a little misleading, but if you looked at the build volume, I don't understand what the problem was. Ravitish 75. 220 by 270 by 300. So pretty generous. It's not 300 by 300 by 400, but it's bigger than your i3s. It's bigger than the Tron XY-X3. It took me, what is this, an hour and a half? And that was me taking my time, and I opened up the box. I don't think it's a bad printer. I think just going off the edge and being like, it is crap, it's not worth my time, that was over the top. I don't think that was the case. I think it's a decent printer. I think it needs to be under $300. If you get a printer, your printers don't have to be perfect if the price is low enough. That's the reality. With these Chinese printers, if the price is low enough, people will accept shortcomings. Meaning, if they can get a printer and save $100, $200, $300 over a different model, but they have to put a couple hours of work into it, they're going to go with the cheaper printer. Me personally, I don't mind having to put a little work into a printer. I'm going to go ahead and overhaul this thing. I don't know what I'm going to do to it. I'm probably going to replace the hot end. I mean, everything I do on my printers, I do a V6 hot end and, ATX power supply and all this other stuff. But we'll see. I'm going to do a bunch of prints with it stock. I think it's going to be a good printer. So I'm going to take the little assembly portion of this, cut it down into a time lapse, and then do a full review after I do some prints on it. Mente Swante. I don't know. I'm going to call you Ment. He just printed a couple layers. He's asking how are the printed parts from Anet. This one on the left here is meh, but it works. The one on the other three, I'd say they're okay. They're average print quality. They're not bad. They're not good. The layers are okay. They look fine and they work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this printer over to my shelving station here, hook a Pi up to it, and then do some prints. Yes, ABL will be working on this. I'm going to get it working. The fact that it's got a board I'm already familiar with, it's going to make short work of it. So that's about it. I think I'm going to end the stream here. I'm going to put this up over here. I've been recording the actual video footage here, so I'm going to cut this up and do an actual review. Does anybody have any questions before I sign off here? I'm like sitting here waiting because I know there's a delay with Twitch. Does anybody have any other questions? Like I said, my recommendation. Yeah, I'll make posts. So heat up time average, it's about the same as the CR10. Made the bed heated up a little quicker because it's a smaller bed. If you guys want to see pictures, go to my YouTube channel, which you can get to by going to youtube.timothyhogan.com. And then any of my videos has a link. I'm going to post a link to the Chinese 3D printer form I run. And that's where I'm going to post the details. So I'm trying to make this form to be all Chinese 3D printers. Because what's happening now is you're going to see there's going to be people posting about this printer in the CR10. Even though, like I said, I don't think it's in the same class. Is it a decent printer? Yes. Under $300. Under $300. Anet, listen. This needs to be under $300 if you want it to sell well. So I just posted a link in the Twitch chat to my CR10 forum. That's where I'm going to be posting the prints. I will post them in the CR10 group. I do have permission from Cody, who is the owner of the CR10 group. But I'm going to be posting a lot of updates on the actual Chinese printer forum. So that's a forum I run, or group, whatever you want to call it. I hang out in there a lot. It's a smaller group, so it's a little more personal, and it's just a different feel from these large groups. The CR10 group is like 11,000 people. It's just endless posts of the same stuff over and over again half the time. So go ahead and join up on there. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to just sit here for another minute and see if anybody else has anything else. Ment, I'm just going to call you Ment because that's a long, weird name. Thank you. He said, thank you, sir. You are a hero. I am a bit more confident in this printer. Maybe I'll still buy the CR10, but it looks better now. Honestly, $300, if you want a printer that you can get up and running quick, I don't see why this would be a bad printer. I don't understand the complaints about the aluminum brackets here. They're solid. It's a smaller printer than the CR10. It's lighter. That's about it, guys. And girls, if there are any. I just realized my mom's been sitting in this the entire time. That's funny. So again, I'll give it another minute I got 9:28 on my clock here, so I'm going to end the stream at 9:30 unless anybody has any other questions here. So I'm just going to kind of hang out right here. No other questions? I think we're caught up with the Twitch delay. But everybody, thank you for dropping in. Thank you for chatting. This has been one of the most active ones, which isn't saying much. If you're comparing the price, the E10 or the monoprice Maker Select, that race 12,001. Okay. The Maker Select, that, if I'm correct, is 300 normally, correct? Let me look this up here. That's a Wanhao rebrand. And by the way, that Wanhao has the same CPU that this has, so you're not going to get any better print quality because of the board. So the monoprice Maker Select is $299. If I had to choose between the Maker Select and this at the same $300 price point, this does have a little more setup because you got to put this on here. I honestly would go with this because the Maker Select has the same kind of issues in terms of wiring that any other i3 has, and that's no MOSFET. So me personally, I run MOSFETs on everything. Now, I think this is going to be less likely to have an issue because there is a fan blowing across the board right by the power MOSFETs, and there's an exhaust fan. Yeah, the rigidity on this is, like, my table's wobbly. But here, if I try to... I am trying right now to bend the extrusion. It's not going. It's not happening. The frame is solid. The frame is absolutely solid. Let's see. It's good to have an unbiased review of this product. Thanks for your time. You know, and I appreciate you guys understanding that I do not care if I got this for free. Just because someone hands me a printer doesn't mean that I'm going to automatically give it a favorable rating. Because I pay for this with my time. If I just bought this, I could have just had it up and running and, you know, I wouldn't have to do a video. I wouldn't have to go through all this video editing. At the rate I charge for, because I do IT consulting, at the rate I charge for consulting, it is actually cheaper for me to just buy the printers. I do this because I enjoy it, and I want to be able to bring people the correct information. The complaints that Preston had about the belts, okay, they're not the best belts. They're not the worst belts. They're average, okay? I prefer the GT2 belts that are rubber with reinforcement, but this is a Chinese printer. You're not going to get that, okay? The Tron XY has these same belts, okay? That's why I don't get why he was complaining. The Tron XY also has acrylic parts for this mount here. These are aluminum. Like, there's going to be much less play in these. And like I said, this gantry stock, I did not tighten the gantry up. All I did was tighten the belt. This gantry's solid. So him going off the rails and saying, it's not worth your time, stay away from it, that's why I had to say something to him. And he actually messaged me, and he told me that, you know, oh, well, the marketing and all this stuff, I can kind of see how they market it as a CR10. I don't think they misled anybody with the pictures. The build volume is right there. And if you don't read that, that is your own fault. That's like me going to McDonald's and buying a burger and getting pissed off at them because it's 1,000 calories. That's on me. That's not on the consumer or not on the company. Like, they're just taking pictures to make it look nice. Why would they take pictures to make it look like crap? I already have, unfortunately, a green printer because I color code all my printers. I unfortunately have a green printer, so I'll probably change the color scheme on this, but I think it looks nice. I think it's a nice looking printer. I might actually just keep it. Who knows? But the thing is that it's a good printer, I think, but it's a good printer under $300. They price that stuff. Yeah, exactly, man. He didn't even, he says he did test prints, but he clearly didn't do any prints on it before he went on his rant. He sent me a message, and I'll even, here, you know, I don't even care. Here, let me move my OBS here. Hang on. I will even show you guys what he sent me, so you guys can know what he sent. So I had called him out. I said, you know, you guys are not, I got some messages here. I just realized this. Hang on. So here, let me go to Preston's here, and I'm going to make this bigger. So he says, you know, I basically said I did call him a hipster because, like, he's kind of hipstery. Let's just be honest here. So I said here, he messaged me after I posted the video. My video is on my YouTube channel. He said that, you know, I said that, you know, he's being a hipster, he's being unfair, and, you know, this is his message, you know, being an IT professional, blah, blah, blah. Basically, you know, if you want to have an open debate, go ahead. And I'm fine with that. I said, you know, here, that would be great. I responded because because that's how you came across. It seemed like a childish rant out of frustration. I don't think it's trying to be a CR10 clone. I honestly don't give a shit about the commission. I just do this because now I'm not shelling out money for the printers that I would buy anyways to review. So, you know, I'm posted on here. I started comments about the motherboard being bad. He made comments on his video. And I'm just like, listen, this is the same as the CR10, same chips, same drivers, everything. And I was talking with voice to text. That's why it looks like all weird. You know, I told him here, I'm like, you think you should have taken the time to do a proper review on it so you can thoroughly explain why you think the printer is bad. Now, I have no loyalty to any company or seller or anything. The bottom line is if I think a printer is good, I will give it a good rating. If I think it's bad, it gets a bad rating. That's it. It's that cut and dry. You know, and he comes back, he's probably riding one of his longboards or whatever. I wasn't claiming he has a loyalty any better. I was just trying to say I don't. He says, I don't like the affiliate system idea with it. I never mentioned the board. You did in the comments. If I go to the actual YouTube thing, he talks about the board here. Unless he deleted his comments, and I think I took a screenshot of it. Let's see here. Like, okay. He looks kind of douchey. That's why, or hipstery, I should say. Like, come on, dude. Anyways, where did he say? Someone asked about the board. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Someone asked about the board. And said something about it being bad. I wish I would have, I probably could have gone ahead and screenshot it. I think I do, but he was just talking shit about the board. The guy was talking shit. He was agreeing with the guy. And I'm like, listen, dude, basically, this is the same board, okay? And he actually, you know, he actually said here, he doesn't think it needs a MOSFET. I don't think it does. You know, it's practically the same board as CR10. So he's agreeing with me, okay? And like he said here, okay, I don't think it's 175 quality. I think it's under 300, okay? And I think Anet was trying to fill that gap between the cheap i3s and the, what do you call it? And the CR10s. It's like this in-between. Like I said here, 300 on special. Yeah, I think that should be the regular price. I don't think that should be the special, okay? You know, I told him here, I said, well, you see, my entire point of the video came off you instead of you whining, instead of giving it a go. 0 prints shown from it. All you showed was you rage quitting. Anyways, we'll see what happens. Mine's still in the box. I have mediocre hopes. I got shit to do. Yeah, he said, I didn't rage quit. Dude, you literally just hastily posted a video. But anyways, I really don't have any problems with him. He's not my favorite, but the whole point was that it his reaction left a really bad taste in my mouth. And the reason it did was because instead of actually, like, I could have just done, like, when the Z Motors wires were in, I could be like, oh, screw it, it's crap, don't buy it. No, I'm just going to rotate them, you know? Like, I'm not assuming that this is going to be what it's not claiming to be. Just because GearBest is trying to market it kind of like a CR10, and it looks like a CR10, you know, there's plenty of cars that look like other cars. No one is, like, trying to say that this car is that car. This is not a CR10. You can tell by the build volume. This is a good $300 or less printer. That's my end thoughts. I'm going to end this because I got to get back to some guys that are needing a little help with their easy ABL sensors. But under $300, if you're in the market for a printer, I would give it a shot. That's my final thoughts on here. $250, hell yeah, go for it. $250 for 220 by 270 by 300. That's a good deal. So, yeah, and they're all i3 clones. This is an i3. An i3, it just looks different, and it's aluminum extrusion. That's it. You know, I don't get all the hate. I really don't. I don't get the hate. His reaction was completely overblown. You know, it even made me skeptical. I didn't even buy this, and I was kind of like, ugh, am I going to have the right thing? But it's a good little printer. Anyways, guys, it is now 9:40. I have to be up early tomorrow, and I got some stuff to take care of before I go to sleep. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I will post the link to the Chinese printer forum one more time in my Twitch chat. That's the forum, the Facebook group I run. I will be posting a lot of stuff on here. I'm going to do a bunch of prints with its stock. I'm not going to just rip this thing apart. My TiVo Tarantula is in pieces over here. That printer was a pain. It was just a pain. There's no layer fan or any of that stuff. That's another thing. The X3 he's talking about, no layer fan. This guy has a layer fan. So, but everybody, thank you so much. Check out the Facebook group if you can. It's really low key. Everybody's pretty chill. And this will be posted on my YouTube channel. You can go to youtube.timothyhoagland.com and that'll take you right to my channel. So I'm going to put this raw video up there, and then I'm going to use a portion of this for the actual review video. So I'm going to do prints, and so expect to see probably tomorrow you'll see prints. I'm literally just going to move this over here. I'm probably just going to use the SD card, do some benchies and calibration cubes, and be on my way. But that's all, folks, everybody. Keep printing and, you know, figure out what works for you. That's the bottom line. You know, if you want to spend $350 on this printer, I wouldn't. But if you want to, because you want something that's quick to set up, I get it. I really do. I bought my CR10s from a U.S. seller, the Tiny Machines guy, because I didn't want to deal with China. But anyways, I'll stop rambling. Everybody, have a good night. Thank you so much for participating.